let's now move to the third point before we conclude. Next week we'll examine the hadith aspect from Sunni books. One common objection that even Shias make. Remember, we're not talking about the different circumstances and scenarios. We're just talking about the actual concept of a temporary marriage. One common argument that you always hear, and they say, look, this is definitely immoral. Whatever you say about the temporary marriage, it's immoral, it's inappropriate, it's aib, it's a shame, whatever. And the proof is, would you allow your daughter to enter a mut'ah relationship? Would you allow your sister to do that? How many of you have heard that? Very common. Hundreds of times. That's the first thing that others say about us. Even some Shia, they say this. What's the response? What's the response to that? Remember, we're not talking about the details and the circumstances. We're just talking about the actual law itself. I'll share with you two naqdi answers. What's a naqdi answer?
The opposite.
Well, the naqdi answer is bringing analogies so you can make a comparison with a similar scenario. I'll turn this around and I'll ask you questions. As a mother, as a father, or as a brother, I'll ask you the following questions. You as a father, would you allow your daughter to marry a janitor or a trash picker? Be honest, would you? Or you'd voice your concerns? Don't talk me ideals. Just talk me this to today, the community. How many fathers in the community, if a janitor comes to their daughter and you're a respected family, you're going to accept? Just be honest with me. Okay, does that mean it's haram? Does Islam say yeah, there's social class and, don't lower yourself? No. In fact, didn't the Prophet ﷺ, he himself had his cousin, Zainab bin Jahsh, his own cousin who comes from the Bani Hashim family, very respected. He, with the instruction of Allah, asked her to marry a former slave. Today slavery doesn't exist, but if it existed, you think dads would let their girls marry a slave? Of course not. They would not. Does that mean it's haram, it's immoral? No. In fact, if a girl says, as you said, if he's decent, he has good character, he's a God-fearing man, he's really a man, as they say, zalama in Arabic, right? And he knows how to take care of his family, the girl could say, you know what, I want a man like that. So what if he's a janitor? I don't look at outside things. Maybe a janitor can make me happy better than a millionaire does. Sah, isn't it so? But let's face it, most dads, are they going to accept? No. So if someone says, would you allow your daughter to do mut'ah? To ask them this question, would you give your daughter to a janitor? See, just because you don't want that for your daughter doesn't make it illegal, doesn't make it immoral, doesn't make it bad, doesn't make it something that has no room in God's religion. No, these are two different things. There are many people who don't want to accept something for themselves. It doesn't make it immoral. It has conditions. Sometimes it could be appropriate, sometimes not. You get the idea, right? Okay. The second point that I'll share with you, according to Shia and Sunni law, if a man comes to a woman and they say, let's get married, just the permanent way, but 3 months later, 2 months later, in fact, a week later, let's get divorced. Is this legal or no? In all schools of thought. Is this legal or no? Is it? I'm asking you. Somebody says, let's get married. But their intention is, let's divorce a month later. Is that a legal marriage? Is that a valid marriage? I'm not saying if it's a good marriage or not. I'm saying, is it a legal marriage? It's not legal? So if today I go to the court and I'm registering my marriage and I tell the clerk, look, next month I'm going to divorce. I'm not allowed to do that? I can. Legally. Can I do that or no?
You can do that?
Yeah, I can do that. So legally it's valid. Legally it's valid, right? Can the clerk tell me, you know what? I'm not registering your marriage. You want to get divorced next month and you're already telling me I'm not going to register it. Does the clerk have that right?
No.
No. If I go there and I've signed the papers to get married, the court has no option but to accept my marriage. Even if they know next month I'm getting divorced. Does it change the legal aspect? You get the idea?
You can do that. You can say, I'm going to get married, but in 2 weeks, I'm going to get a divorce.
Exactly.
It can still be legal.
Exactly. That's my point. It's still legal, right?
It's immoral, but legal.
Exactly. It's not a good thing, maybe. It's not that moral, as you said, immoral, but it's legal. See, the same with the temporary marriage. Those who say, well, it's impossible. How are you marrying someone on a temporary basis? Because marriage is for life. No, there are people who get married permanently, but maybe in their minds, one day I'll get divorced. I've known people who go to other countries and they work there for a number of years. I know people who go to another country and their work or their school or whatever demands that they stay there 10 years. They go and they officially get married. And by the way, they make it known to the family that, look, I'm here 10 years. And I'm just marrying 10 years. Maybe in 10 years, maybe I'll get divorced. See, he's already stating his intention. Does that make the marriage invalid? No. There are some families who accept that. Sure, get married 10 years. 10 years later, you can decide whether you want a divorce or not. We'll accept that. So the same concept that you find in the temporary marriage, it could exist in the permanent marriage too. And all schools of thought recognize it. Okay, now here's my question to you. If a father knows that somebody is asking his daughter only to divorce her a year from now, is he going to accept? No, he's not going to accept. Does that mean that the marriage is invalid? No. See, these are two things. So those who want to bring down the temporary marriage and say it's invalid because no father accepts it, that's a separate discussion. Even with the permanent marriage, no father accepts it. But all schools of thought say, hey, it's still a valid marriage. As long as they brought witnesses, they had the wedding. If they divorce 3 months later, it's a divorce. What are we going to do? Same concept here.
It was Sunni scholar, but he said if your intention is to divorce your future wife or your wife and a month or two, that's invalid.
I checked the schools of thought.
I know, I told him where's that?
I checked the Sunni schools of thought. We'll talk about that next week. In Sunni schools of thought, go not ask a layman, ask a Sunni scholar who knows the madhab, and ask them to show evidence. If you go and marry a woman, and your intention is just to marry for a year, for 6 months, and then after 6 months you don't want this marriage, is this a valid marriage? Every Sunni scholar who knows Sunni law will tell you yes. If they tell you otherwise, ask them for evidence. I've seen the fatwa of their madahib, of the leaders of their sect. It's a valid, yes. There is no condition in Islam like Christianity, of course the modern Christianity, not the original one. There is no condition in Islam that if you get married, you have to stay married for life. Yes, divorce is bad. Islam discourages it. Islam considers it unrecommended. But it's still valid. There is no condition in Islamic law that if you get married, you're married for life. No. You can divorce later if you wanted to. It's not good, definitely. That's why we do counseling, to discourage people from getting divorced. But in the end, it's legal. And every Sunni schools of thought say it's legal. If you go to any Sunni school of thought, let's say a person travels overseas, and they're staying there 2 years. And they say, I want to get married for these 2 years. Can I? Yes, you can. And that's another thing, the misyar. We'll talk about that. We're talking about a completely full, permanent marriage. And the person is saying from day one, look guys, look family, I'm here for 3 years only. And I'm getting married for 3 years, then I'm going to divorce. It's perfectly valid.
And they do it in Egypt too.
From a legal perspective, it's perfectly valid. We'll talk about that. The different variations they came up with. They ran away from the Mut'ah marriage and they invented all these other types of marriages. Next week we'll discuss that. So this objection that, would you allow your daughter to do a temporary marriage or your sister, that's the response to that. That in itself is not an argument that you could use to try to prove that something is either immoral or something is invalid in the religion of God. And we gave the examples.